What are you listening to?
You don't know that the guys are put
I know that. No, this is one that I know. Tom Brady's bordering now on godlike.
You got to put the bourbon down and go to a doctor.
All right, listen up, y'all.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined, as always, by my good friend and alcoholic, Mr. Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
I do not go to meetings, so I am not an alcoholic.
It's not official.
Good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I have to I guess we'll start off to get it out of the way. The Yankees did not make the miraculous comeback in the series. They lost the World Series. I think the better team won. I will tell you that I did feel like a fucking jinx, though. And it's the second time with the Yankees in the playoffs that I felt this way. I forgot that they were playing after we did the podcast last week. I forgot they were playing. I was just watching a movie. Like, I just put a movie on.
Did you tune in the fifth inning?
I tuned in the fifth inning. It's 5-0.
Oh,
I tune in, and the first thing I hear is Garrett Cole pitching a gem. And I'm like, this is great. And then it all just goes to shit. And before the inning was over, I turned it off. Because I'm like, is this on me? I don't believe that. Intellectually, I don't believe that, okay? So I'm not like some kind of woo-woo, spiritual crystals over my head kind of thing. But I got to tell you, it was a little weird. It was a little weird.
With that being said,
I'm like, bro, like Little League shit.
Exactly.
Not covering first, dropping easy fly balls to center field.
Going to third base 6 feet away and throws the ball on the ground. Like, what are we doing?
I said, I gotta get out of here. And I turned it off, and I did not turn it back on. I didn't even look. I didn't even go on the app to find the score. I just waited till the next morning. I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with this. It happened earlier.
So weird, dude. I thought they were going back to LA to 5-0, dude. They were cruising. Judge homer in the first inning. I'm like,
5-0 feels good. Dude,
great.
It was the week before. On Friday they played. My son stayed here an extra day to watch SmackDown. So we watched SmackDown, and we're like, we're up. I think the Yankees are playing.
Game one, yeah.
And they were winning. And then it got tied, and then they were winning, and then they lost, right? And they lost like in extra innings or whatever. And I'm like, we looked at each other like, Jesus, like, what did we do? And then this happened again. So I just, look, everybody who's freaking out, oh, the Yankees suck. Oh, dude, you ran into a very good team. I think the Dodgers are a better team. Dodgers don't have as good a pitching right now, but the Dodgers have a much better lineup. And Aaron Judge didn't do Aaron Judge stuff for most of the playoffs. Yeah, so it just happens. But I think as a Yankee fan, you should at least feel good that they were there again, back where they belong. It didn't work out, but don't lose your minds. It's just I hate overreactions and stuff like that. So. Yeah,
but the one negative you could say too is like now Cashman and Boone kind of they're going to be.
They get they get a reprieve. But what's the alternative? The only way they get fired is if the season really sucks.
Yeah, and you know what? But they've had years in a row where they've had month and a half, 2 months of really bad baseball, and then they fight out of it.
They righted the ship. The shit things were pretty good. The question for you is: do they sign? What's his face? Soto.
My gut feeling is no.
Really?
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to play? You think it's going to be the Dodgers or the Mets?
I think it's Dodgers or Mets. I think it's one of those two.
You think he would go across town for basically the same amount of money?
I don't think it's going to be the same amount of money. I think the Mets are coming in hot. No, I don't know. I don't know if Boris is going to go back to Cashman and be like, hey, we have an offer on the table from the Mets. Do you want to up your ante? I don't know if he'll do that. I know they have a lot of respect for each other because they do a lot of business together. And then if it's the Dodgers, dude, where the fuck are they getting all this money from? Are they going to backload this one too? These guys are going to be dead by the time they got to pay Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Soto. I mean, this is incredible. Now, if the money's close, do I think the Yankees will reach out?
What are we talking about a year here? What are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking 50.
50 a year?
A year.
Oh my God.
To play 3 hours of baseball, Pete.
It's good work if you can get it.
Fuck, I wish I was better, and 50, I wish I was born 20 years later.
50 a year.
50 a year. For 13 years.
What kind of math is that?
And then there's going to be an opt-out, too. There's always an opt-out.
650?
Let me see. I think it's 650, right?
Good
no, that'd be 12 years, right?
Oh, that's
13 times what? 50 million? Dude, my calculator doesn't even work them.
I can't fit it. I can't fit it on the screen.
650. 650.
God damn. Well, we'll see what happens with that.
Dude, now you could argue the other way real quick, too, is like, do they let him walk, and then you go get a right fielder, a third baseman, a second baseman, and then you could fill your gaps?
Do you have...
With three guys.
Are those pieces out there?
They are.
Okay.
They are out there.
All right.
And now you got a lot of...
You kind of think you're leaning towards that way? You think they're going to go that way?
I just know how Cashman and Hal have been operating for the last couple of years. Like, Judge was a no-brainer. You had to bring him back, coming off the AL record of home runs.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer. And
plus, he's your guy.
And he actually did you a favor by taking some money off.
Right.
I don't think, for everything I hear about Soto, he's just money hungry and he doesn't give a shit about feelings or like hometown discount or nothing. So,
okay.
I like him. He's a great player. And he also has to be kind of smart. He had his best year with Judge batting behind him. So
he's not thinking like that.
But I agree. That's
Same.
why
Wasn't Boris Cano's agent?
Yeah.
And he don't give a fuck either. He just wants his nut. So.
Well, yeah, he won a World Series with the Yankees, and he's like, "See ya, I'm gonna go to Seattle and fucking bathe in money
and die."
And then, dude, if he was a Yankees whole career, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
He might be the best second baseman who ever lived. You don't need to do the steroid bullshit because you're gonna pound the ball to right center field, and it's.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway,
these guys make those types of mistakes, but
to move on to football,
yes,
I am going to comment on what Mike Mangano just said. I am getting a lot of backlash from you changing teams, Peter. Do you have a comment on this?
I've made my comment perfectly clear. I stayed loyal for 51 years. That's 51 years. Let's call it 46 because I don't think I was a fan when I was 4 years old. I've been a fan of the Jets, a loyal fan, and an undivided fan for 46 years. That's more than most of you guys have been alive. So don't talk to me about loyalty. Don't talk to me about what I'm supposed to do. It's gotten me nothing. Denver Broncos fans got Super Bowls. Giants fans got Super Bowls. Steelers fans got Super Bowls. Green Bay fans got Super Bowls. Redskins / Commanders fans. You go down the list. Eagles fans. Even the fucking Eagles got a Super Bowl.
Dude, the Rams got 2.
The Rams got Super Bowls. In my lifetime, Stugatz. I've given at the office. It's time to collect my Social Security and my pension.
I like it.
So,
all right.
Anyone who's got a problem with that, you can scratch my ass. Because I have given at the office. It's time for me to get a little happiness. It can't all be misery, can it?
We're going to find out.
And yes, I'll tell you, I'm going to be totally straight with you. If the Lions stink in 2 years, I'm out. And I'll go to somebody else. You know why? Because I can.
If the Lions lose in like unbelievably heartbreak fashion, you are definitely a fucking mush. It's just unbelievable. Like in the playoffs, like in the postseason.
Next topic. I know because they didn't lose last year.
All right, real quick. Not a great slate last week in review. The Cowboys, Browns, Jaguars, and Dolphins all playoff team projected in the summer, all way under 500, and there is not a hope in sight. I think for any of them. Dak probably out for the year now. They're saying hammy.
I know that changed quick, right?
Yeah, it changed real quick. Cleveland, as we've talked about for weeks on end, are a goddamn nightmare.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
Now, we've documented on this show so many times about how the coming schedule for the Cowboys is very difficult. But
do you tank it?
I think you do. But maybe that's why Cooper Rush is playing, but I think you should probably play Trey Lance. You did give up a 4th-round pick for him. Wouldn't you want to find out and just put it in the shitter and get a high pick and maybe get Shedeur Sanders or one of these other Quinn Ewers or whatever? But what happens if you win like 2 out of your next 3?
That's what happened to you guys a couple years ago, right? Like,
don't you look at your $60 million Dak and say, oh boy, are the Cowboys now in the same position almost as the Browns, where you got a guy who is not a superstar. Hear me out. He's not a superstar. First of all, Deshaun Watson, before he started using his dick like a damn a whip.
Twizzler.
Yeah, he was better than Dak. Okay. So I'm not trying to say Dak stinks, but what I'm saying is you got a guy who makes $60 million that is not a superstar and cannot carry a team. You know that now because you saw it for the first half of the season. You're stuck with him, and you will have to pay him. Next year you're on the books for $90 million on a cap. Good luck with that.
And the fact that you still have to you got to sign Micah and Diggs. So you're screwed.
You can't. There's no way. I suspect. So look, if I was them, I would trade Micah Parsons probably.
Well, they fucked that up. They could have done that 2 weeks ago. I mean,
they fucked it all up, dude. So we've been saying for how many years that you shouldn't give that kind of money to Dak Prescott. What are you gonna do? Let him walk? Yeah, you let him walk. Let it be somebody else's $60 million problem. Have we learned nothing from the Cleveland Browns?
And as the league has shown too, you can go out and get a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield, fill the gap a little bit here, and then you can go from there. And
absolutely,
have some, it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Jaguars and Dolphins too. I mean, the Dolphins just they're in games, but they can't get over the top.
Yeah, and you
they
can't.
blew the Cardinal game 2 weeks ago, and then they had the Bills beat.
You can't, which is something because it was in Buffalo. Although the weather was beautiful, so there's no you don't get the weather excuse.
But still, dude, you got to win under your belt in Buffalo. I don't give a shit. You take it, but you couldn't get it done.
Yeah, and you can't use the excuse of no Tua anymore either because you had to and you still lost. So they look again. Pat ourselves on the back a little bit. We told everybody they were going to have problems on defense because they had to sell off all the pieces. Why? Because you got like $120 million wrapped up in 3 players.
Yeah.
And Waddle, Hill, and Tua. So your line stinks. Your defense stinks. And suddenly there are questions about Mike McDaniel. So not going to say I said anything, but I said this exact same thing. What happens when the shit hits the fan? Is he the kind of coach that will lift you up? No, because he's a player's coach and it's all good feelings and everybody's important and special and I just want everybody to feel good. Fuck your feelings. This is football and sometimes you got to get a kick in the ass and he doesn't know how to do that. Sorry.
They're going to give him another year or two probably because you missed what, 6 weeks with Tua and everything got kind of fucked up, but I hear what you're saying.
And that's not his fault, but this is what happens. We gave Robert Saleh shit for last year losing Aaron Rodgers. We give who's the Steelers coach? Mike Tomlin shit for not having a quarterback the last 2 years. They made the playoffs, but the team stinks. We don't think much of them. You know, we give coaches all the time.
Mike McCarthy shit.
Yeah, you can give coaches problems all the time when they lose their quarterback. We say, hey, make up for it. Well, fucking make up for it, and he hasn't. And they were very, very bad. So,
beat down in Baltimore. The Broncos got smoked 41-10. They were in the game for about a quarter and a half. And then the fucking thing, they went for it on 4th down in like a weird spot. And then the game just turned. They scored 4 straight possessions. And then Denver, they don't have the firepower to come back from that. And listen, they were kind of due for a game like that. Baltimore's clicking on all cylinders. And we thought the line was weird. They're almost begging to take Denver. And it showed. I'm not discouraged by this. I think it's one of those games you just take on the chin and move on and learn from it.
I agree.
The problem is, and we'll talk about this in a minute. They got the Chiefs this week on the road. That's
right.
A pain in the ass.
I mean, I'm a little disappointed in the defense.
Yeah,
and maybe I'm a little disappointed in the offense. We've talked about on this show how if there's a weakness on the Ravens team, it is their defense, and it is. They're not that great a defensive team, but they played better this week. Broncos didn't travel well. Call it whatever you want.
Yeah, that's their 3rd trip out east in fucking 9 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask. So maybe that's part of the problem. Again, I'm with you. So I always come back to this point with Denver, which is, what were you expecting this year? It shouldn't have been too much, right? I think you're already ahead of schedule. I don't think any Broncos fans thought that you should beat the Ravens, and you didn't.
On the road.
It'd be nice if it was a little more competitive, but in the end, you get over it, you work, you get back home, lick your wounds a little bit, and get back to work.
I'm excited. I don't want to give away this year yet either because there's a half the season to go. But
sure.
I'm excited for next year where, like, these 2 young receivers maybe take a step up, see where they are at. They maybe get another tight end or another weapon out there. Figure out the running game. Do they go with the younger guys and then get rid of Javonte? And then obviously Bo Nix will take an upgrade up.
Absolutely. You get a full off season.
So defense is still young and assigned. So that's a plus there. And
you open up all that cap space that Russell Wilson's contract is eating up this year. So if there are moves to be made, and I have no idea. This is not the time for us to start talking about free agents, but whatever's available, you have a lot of room to work with there. So that'll be very nice for them.
And you know what's good about like showing Bo Nix now? Maybe some free agents. Like I like what I see. Maybe I'll go up there.
Absolutely.
Sean Payton's offense.
Plus it's Sean Payton. Yeah. I mean, if you're a wide receiver, all you have to do is look at the years with New Orleans and say,
Michael Thomas.
I know all those guys were great there. So, and oftentimes they would leave and not be great. So,
Denver has a history of good wide receivers too. It's just been a year. It's just been very stale lately.
Yeah, it's a very tough year. This is to me, the fact that they have a winning record is fucking gravy.
Yeah,
like we were talking maybe 5-6 wins. They're way ahead of schedule. So,
yeah, there's some winnable games in there later on the year. They got Colts, they got Jaguars, Bengals if they go down the tank, and who knows. So, Detroit Lions 24, Green Bay Packers 14 at Lambeau Field. This game wasn't even as close as that score.
No,
Green Bay punched one in late to kind of just save face. Dude, I got to tell you, the Lions are fucking good.
Yeah, they're the most complete team in the NFL right now. I can't say they're the best team because Kansas City's still undefeated, but they're the most complete team, and I think they're playing the best football. They could do whatever they want on offense. Once again, dude, this statistic blows my brain into pieces. Over the last 5 weeks, they have more touchdowns than incomplete passes. That's sick. That is not right. That's some college Alabama, Nick Saban years kind of crazy shit. Like, that's just insane. And on top of it, their defense. Look, when we were doing the preseason look at the schedule and stuff like that, we pointed out that Detroit only had, I think, one road game in the not one road game, but one outdoor game in like the first 11 or 12 games of the season. And this was it. And we're like, oh, what's going to happen? Well, you even had bad weather.
Monsoon.
It was shitty out, and they still dominated. Now you have to ask yourself, you got to say, does it even matter? They can play on the road. They can play at home. They can play in a dome. They can play on grass. They can play in bad weather, and they can dominate all of it. On top of it all, their defense is playing good. Like, and that's without a pass rusher. Like, dominant
pass rusher.
Dominant pass rusher. So I'm as impressed with Detroit. Let me reframe that. I'm more impressed with Detroit than I am with any other team in the league. So,
yeah,
and includes Kansas City because Kansas City is not as complete. They're a better defensive team, but they're a significantly poorer offensive team. So,
to Kansas City we go. Them and the Rams both win in overtime. We'll start the Ram game. That game was fucking nuts, dude. Seattle was up and then held on, and the Rams came back. Stafford's just we love him.
Yep.
We just love him.
Especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, he's just as clutch as they come. Obviously, Mahomes first when it comes to clutch, it's just ridiculous. But if it's not Mahomes, there's one guy I want in the NFL right now, and that's Matthew Stafford. He is just clutch and doesn't give a shit about his body.
Would you take Stafford over Goff?
In the fourth quarter? In the fourth quarter, I would, yeah.
Okay.
Over anybody except for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I like Goff. I've defended Goff. I don't have to defend Goff anymore. He does a good job of defending himself.
No.
But fourth quarter, like just efficiency, and it's also like driving the ball downfield. These are not dink and dunk, get it to the back, let him get set. Like this is pushing it downfield a lot, man. It's just impressive. And he does it like he shows a lot more mobility in the fourth quarter. It's like what happens? He just turns it on.
He's like saving it up.
Fucking good, man. He's just really
funny.
good.
We had the Rams winning that division, or maybe competing for a playoff spot, whatever we had it on. We both liked them. And we almost buried it 1-4, but here they come storming back, and that's why it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's hard to bury. Even the Bengals, they win tonight. They're right back in this thing.
True story. Yeah, it's true. I mean, obviously they fought through a magnitude 11 on the Richter scale level of injuries,
but that's why.
And they're working their way out of it.
That's a guy that could win without fucking stars.
Absolutely.
That's a guy that knows how to do it.
That's a guy who's worth 50, 60 million a year. You can put him with your second team receivers, and he'll make it work. It ain't great, but he makes it work. Dak can't do that. Baker. Well,
Dak can't do it. One of the best fuck receivers in the league.
I was about to say Baker can't do it, but Baker did do it, as I'm sure we're about to talk about in this game. Also,
I don't know about you. I know you're not a fan of a team in the AFC West, but I'm so sick of the goddamn Chiefs. They just can't get clipped. They're always right there to get clipped, and they just can't do it. And I know that's Reed and Mahomes, and I give them credit. I get it. I respect them. But Mahomes with the fake fucking ankle injury and the moping around, dude, come on, give me a break with this.
This game and Mahomes in general can be summed up in one very short clip. Go on like Yahoo Sports, ESPN, you could find it on YouTube, I'm sure, and look up the coin toss for overtime. And it's the instant that Baker Mayfield realized they lost the coin toss and the Chiefs were going to get the ball, you would think his dog just died. Like he just, his head goes back because he knows. Dude, when in history do you just know it's over? Like the team hasn't even taken a field yet in overtime, and you're like, go warm up the plane. Like, it's over. We know it. He knew it, and it was. That's what's sick. You know it's coming, and you can't do anything about it. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. But with that said, let me just say, I give Tampa, Baker, Bulls, I give them all a shit ton of credit to go on the road, banged up as hell. All your weapons are just in the shitter, hurt. And to play really good defense, to score some points, had multiple leads.
The offense coordinator called a great game.
Great game. They don't have the record right now, Tampa, but they are a dangerous, talented team. Very easy to root for. Let's put it this way. As the season goes on, they're very easy to root for.
If they could win one or two here before you got Evans back and keep them like kind of in it.
Especially in that division,
Huge.
Absolutely. So I was really impressed. With Tampa in this game. Again, we always say there are no moral victories, but they should walk away from this game thinking, you know what? Even with the injuries, we can compete against anybody because we had best team in the league. We had the Super Bowl champs on the ropes in overtime. We just couldn't finish. That leads me to one question for you. Where are you? I know where I'm at, but I know where are you with whether they should have gone for 2 or kicked the extra point in regulation?
Hindsight's always 20/20. The rule. It's funny. The rule back in the day before this analytics shit was like go for 2 on the road and get a win. And now like analytics has started, and you could go for 2 down 8 or down 7 or whatever the fuck the rule is, but now you don't go for 2 on the road. Like it's a little ass backwards to me.
Right.
I think you should have done it.
And I get it. I'll say the underdog in the game. You're on the road. It wasn't particularly great out. Take your chance on one play.
Well, you just made my point for me with the Baker Mayfield coin toss. So that's exactly why you do it.
I get it. The only thing I will say is that they had played really good defense in this game. They had made Kansas City punt a number of times. So it's not like their defense, it's not like it was a 45-45 shootout that's in overtime. Like they played some pretty
Bills Chiefs in a couple years ago. Yeah.
Like they played some really good defense in this game. And I get it. I'm always more of a proponent of kick the extra point because I think momentum is a real thing. The other thing I will say is that going for 2 in the league this year, if you want to talk about analytics, is an under 40% chance. Like you have teams are getting the 2-point conversion less than 40% of the time. It's like 38% of the time. So if you just want to go by that, you don't have a great chance. And oh shit, I had another reason. I don't remember what it is. Oh, I know what it is. They had run short yardage goal line plays multiple times in this game. So you don't have, at that point, you've had probably, if I remember correctly, at least 4 or 5 plays inside the 5-yard line throughout that game. So you don't have one more that they haven't seen yet. Like you've already run your best 2-point, best goal line offensive play. So you're a little thin on what to do there. I'm of the opinion that we don't have to be outraged over everything. They went for 1. I'm fine with it. If they would have gone for 2, I'd have been fine with that too. I don't know that we have to murder people over coin toss decisions. That's all. That's all I'll say about that. If you think they should have gone for 2, I'm fine with that. But I think going for 1 is fine. I'm fine with that too. I don't think this was a clear-cut one. I just don't because of the situation. See, this is what analytics can't give you. Analytics can't give you, well, this week it's Patrick Mahomes. Maybe we should go for 2. It's a good reason. Oh, but this whole game, we've played great defense and we've played half a dozen plays inside the 5-yard line, so we don't have a really good 2-point conversion. That's fair. Like two things can be true at the same time. So I'm not willing to just kill them for it. I'm okay either way in this situation.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
You have anything else? for last week?
Not particularly. I will just say that the Nick Sirianni fans, although you could still have issues with decisions he made in the game against the Jags, they've won 4 games in a row.
Absolutely, you can.
You can, but you can if they would have lost that game, you could also looked at Saquon Barkley and said, although we wouldn't have won as many games as we've won without him, he could have been the responsibility of losing 2 games this year. For not running for the first down with like 2.5 minutes left, like he took a knee or like slid or whatever, just go get the first down and this game is over. So that would have been the second game that he blew on his own. But with that said, like they're winning games and they're tied for first place in their division. Like I don't know what everybody's expecting, but you want to fire that guy? Okay. Players love him. Say what you want. Players love him. So take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, Jason Kelsey talks about it all the time. They love
him. They fucking love him. And you know why? Because regardless of the decisions that he's making, most of those decisions are based on his belief in his players.
His guys, yeah.
And they know it and they love it. And if you can't understand that as fans, that's a you problem, dude. That's not his problem. Those guys will run through a wall for them. Ask yourself this. Have you seen the Philadelphia Eagles quit? Have you seen a team right now, as you're watching them right now, does this look like a team that's not playing hard? That says fuck you to their coach? You just had DJ Moore for the Chicago Bears come out and say, I'm not really sure what these coaches are doing. Basically is what he said, questioning the coaches. You don't have that. You don't have that.
I was going to use the Bears as an example too. Yeah, good call.
You don't have that. So the guy's not perfect, but who's perfect? Sean McVay didn't make errors in the Super Bowl with time management. Kyle Shanahan hasn't fucked up on a number of occasions when he's had chances to win. None of these guys are perfect, dude. None of these guys are perfect. What I do know is that those guys play hard, and they're winning a lot of games now. Careful what you wish for. You might get what you want.
What impressed you last week, Peter?
I'm impressed by the Chargers. Outside of their quarterback, this is a thin team. We know that Harbaugh got rid of a bunch of guys. I know it's not just him, but you know what I'm saying. He's the face of the team right now. Quentin Johnston, who people looked at kind of like a bust, 4 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Harbaugh's got him playing like a goddamn superstar now. What the hell's going on? Ladd McConkey comes in. Now he looks like a ball player. I give a lot of credit to Jim Harbaugh.
J.K. Dobbins, new life.
That's what I'm saying. Harbaugh is a really good coach. Justin Herbert is playing some of his best football, and he's been sacked like 20 times. He's been sacked a lot. He gets whacked, and he's still just tough as nails. So, if you think they're decent now, 2 years from now, look out. Look out.
Peter, I got the Chargers.
Imagine
but I have the other way. I got the defense.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Defense is playing fucking tremendous. Jesse Minter, Michigan's DC. No joke. The guy could fucking coach.
Yep.
The guys brought in younger DC again, like Mike McDonald, kind of same thing. Younger guy. Bosa's Derwin James reincarnated. Mac, dude, they're all playing great.
Let me ask you something.
They're also one curb from getting out of the car from getting hurt, like they always
for
are.
sure.
But
let me ask you something. If you could give one word of what Jim Harbaugh has brought to the Chargers, what would it be?
I was gonna say grit, but that's more Lions thing.
I would say that. I would say toughness, grit,
toughness,
something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you expected.
Like an adult in the room.
Yeah,
it's
exactly what you expected. He brought it to Michigan. He brought it to San Francisco. He brought it to Stanford. What do you think Jim Harbaugh is going to bring to your team? Toughness, discipline, physical, but toughness. That's what you got. They're tough as shit, dude. They're physical. They're a challenge for anybody right now. And what's amazing about that is they're not as talented as most of the teams that they're facing each week, except at quarterback, of course.
Yeah.
My second one is Joe Burrow. This is not a very good football team. It's not a very good football team. And I know if they win tonight, they're kind of back in the picture. But they're going to have to win shootouts because the defense is awful. But Joe Burrow, 70% completion percentage, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he's been sacked 20 times. So he's not like they have been trying for 3 years to fix this offensive line, and they still haven't done it. And it doesn't matter. The son of a bitch just hangs in there and makes plays. It's not a good team, but Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback. There's a lot of talent for him to throw to. Don't make no mistakes. So I'm not trying to like make this into something that it's not. But I got to give him credit for what he does.
Higgins has been out for half the year, maybe more than half the year. I got one for your old team here, Garrett Wilson.
Oh,
holy shit! Did he have a night last Thursday? Holy,
indeed,
or whatever day it was. Was that last Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's a really nice player. That was a
one-handed,
great. He
two
plays
one-handed
hard.
catches.
He
touchdowns.
plays really hard. Yeah,
he does. You could see it, and he cares.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Good call on that one. And that was a good win. That was a good win for the Jets. That's a good win for any team. I don't care. That's a good win. My last one is the Vikings in general, but I got a couple points to just in this last game. Sam Darnold, 28 of 34. Fucker only had 6 incomplete passes, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now he also had two interceptions, but damn, he's right back on track. He just throws a lot of touchdowns. On top of it, you got Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 137 yards. He's really sick. And then they also ran for well over 100 yards. Like that offense, they are productive, man. That offense is productive. It's just tough to deal with. Very tough to deal with. Well-coached team on both sides of the ball.
Yep. Yes, they are. And they're likable. Like, they're just very likable to me. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Well, because there's not a lot of chaos. There's not a lot of noise. Sam Darnold, I love
the coach. I love the coach.
I think everybody likes a reclamation project that works well. 2 years ago was Geno Smith. Man, everybody loved that story, right? Guy that like got stepped over, got passed on. Baker now. Like, everybody loves the Baker story. Do you remember a couple years ago with Baker when he was with the Browns? Like, too many commercials, guy's too loud, pain in the ass, get him out of here. Here comes Deshaun Watson. People were happy even though he's a dirtbag. Now everybody loves Baker Mayfield. Everyone loves a comeback story, man. When I was a kid, it was Jim Plunkett with the Raiders. People only think of Jim Plunkett as a Raider, but he was actually drafted. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, was drafted by the Patriots. Sucked. I mean, he was bad. Turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, you name it. He was terrible. And then he looked good with the Raiders. They win a Super. Everybody loves that story. It's we love comeback stories, man. Everyone loves a comeback story.
Matt Stafford.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like you've been screwed for 10 years. Yeah. Now you catch a break and it works out for you. Nice. Good. That's what I'm saying with Sam Darnold. Like, it's hard not to like that story, especially when he just seems like a good kid on top of it. Like, he just seems like a nice kid. Takes responsibility. Even when he was asked about the Jets, like, he's like, I don't blame the Jets. I should have done a better job. And in my head, I'm thinking, are you fucking crazy? Like, the Jets, not that they treated him bad, but they did nothing for him. I don't think they treated him. I don't think they tried to screw the kid, but like, they did nothing for him. No line, no. And he was like, yeah, I should have been better. Oh, how do you not like that? How do you not like that? Oh, by the way,
like this. Oh my God.
Yeah, but oh, by the way, just a little life lesson out there. It's a better way to live. It's a better way to be, because then you can make improvements on yourself as opposed to worrying about the Jets.
Worrying about somebody else.
So good for him. I'm happy.
Last one for me, Saquon Barkley. Holy Christ.
Dude, that play is just some out of a video game. It's not even in a video game because nobody's ever done it before, so they wouldn't have known to put it in the game.
Dude, watching his teammates' reaction is all you need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just like, wait, what? It just looks the Matrix.
That play obviously is on the list, but like, dude, just him overall, like, just the fucking Giants. All they had to do was fucking tag Daniel Jones and give Barkley some money, and the guy wanted to stay there.
I know. I cut them a little slack because most of the years that Saquon was there, he wasn't healthy. But
I agree, but it just
it looks terrible right now.
In their own division, it looks terrible.
It looks terrible.
And he's playing his ass off, and he's a big reason why the Eagles maybe have some adults in the room.
Oh my God, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll give you the depressed. I'll start there, dude. You said it before, the Bears offense. What the hell? Their defense can only do so much here. Absolutely. I mean, this is insane. Caleb patting the ball. So erratic. DJ Moore's walking off the field. Keenan Allen's dropping first downs.
Dude.
What's the running back? Swift can only play against bad teams. It's a goddamn mess, dude.
I mean, Caleb Williams is barely a 50% completion guy, which is just, I mean, it's not even close to acceptable. And yeah, he holds the ball way too long. And in college, he was able to do that because he was dude. I know what this. I know it sounds like a broken record, but we told you guys this. He doesn't play within the system enough. And in college, he was better than everybody else, especially in the Pac-12. And he can hold the ball and run around like Fran Tarkenton and then let her rip to somebody who's wide open because you can't cover somebody for 7 seconds, 8 seconds. That shit doesn't fly. So now he runs around like Fran Tarkenton and then lets it rip and it gets picked off because guys come under it. The guys can see what he's doing. These are pros. They don't fall for that shit, dude. This isn't a pre-med student who happens to play football. This is the fucking best there is. And I don't care what team it is. It could be Carolina. That guy's a pro. That guy is a pro. So that shit doesn't work, and he's going to have to learn to play within the system. My first one for depressed is the Cleveland Browns. Just because they, it felt like a turnaround with Jameis Winston last week, and then they just come in and lay an egg, and there was nothing there.
At home. Ugh.
At home, just no juice, and it's just disappointing to me. And it is a little depressing because I remember what I said to you last week was, boy, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, aren't you sitting here like, man, why didn't we do this a little while ago? Maybe it wouldn't have mattered. So that was just not the best.
I think that kind of shut us up real quick.
Yeah, very quickly.
Second one for me, I got CJ Stroud. I know he's down a couple of guys, but dude, he looks terrible. Even when they were winning games, he's not putting up huge numbers.
Right.
Heisman Trophy candidate twice, Rookie of the Year last year, good coaching staff. Just there's something missing, and even got Joe Mixon, and he's playing great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Healthy, and something's just not there. Now, they have another tough one this week. We'll talk about it in a minute.
I don't know if it's something not there or
slump. It's something like did the NFL figure him out a little bit?
I think that's more what I don't know that it's ever a sophomore slump, or is it just that what we've talked about in the preseason and the offseason, which is
more adjustments.
These guys just figure out what you're good at, man, and then you're going to have to they're going to take away things. You're going to have to go do something else. Now, that may be on Stroud. That may be on a coordinator. Slovis, is that his name? The offense coordinator, yeah. Slovis. Yeah. He's a new first-time offense coordinator last year, and it all looked good, but are you making the adjustments this year? Are you making the changes this year? I think if you're just trying to do this year what you did last year, that's probably not enough. And I think that might be the problem. I don't think it's a slump. I just think teams, I don't care who you are. It's not about CJ Stroud. It's everybody. What you do good this week, you're probably not going to be able to do next week. What you did good this
probably Slowick,
sorry.
Slowick was a quarterback, I think, for USC if I'm one.
Slovis, yeah, you're right. What you did last year, you can't do exactly the same this year, or you have to have something off of it. So, yeah, I think it's been a bit of a disappointment. Losing to the Jets at New York is one thing on a Thursday night. Losing the way you did in such utter dominance, that's a problem to me. I don't know. If you're going to be considered a Super Bowl team, that's not the first time. They went on the road and got their brains bashed in by Minnesota and looked clueless, and they looked clueless this week. And there's been other games that they've won, like particularly I'm thinking like against the Colts.
Buffalo,
but
or
didn't
Josh
look
Allen had that concussion.
Yeah, like he didn't look good doing it. And so there's just things to me, it just looks to me like the league caught up with them a little bit. Let's see if they make, they're all new head coach, new offense coordinator, new quarterback. They're going to have to make some adjustments. Let's see if they do that. My second one was actually the Texans as well. Like those, so I'll give you my third one. Denver Broncos, a little disappointing to me. I'm not a fan like you are, but I like their head coach and I like Bo Nix, and I kind of like side root for them a little bit, especially when they're playing better teams. I like rooting for underdogs in general. So it was a little disappointing that their defense gave up as much as it did. I thought they would show out a little bit more, but a little depressing to me considering how they've played in the last, 3 or 4 weeks prior to that.
That's my third one too. I got Broncos defense mainly. Offense wasn't great either, don't get me wrong, but I think just the way the defense was on a trajectory there, it just wasn't.
And as far as the offense goes, look, I think you're going to get this kind of stuff when you got a rookie quarterback. And again, it's bashing my head against the wall, but you're lacking some talent because you're eating $85 million that you can't spend on players. So it does make things thin if you're a little injured. Injuries right now injuries on Denver are different than injuries on other teams because they just don't have the backups that other teams will have because of the money situation.
They don't have the experience or maybe even the talent or combo of both, right? It's hard to
You make a great point. You're probably relying on rookies as backups, and some of them are probably undrafted free agents at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yep. Week 10 tonight. Tell you, this is 2 weeks in a row, maybe 3, and then next week there's another good Thursday night games are getting good.
Fun stuff.
Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, you made the point if Cincinnati wins tonight, then they're right back in it, and that is true. And another thing going in their favor is the matchup. We've talked about this sometimes. From time to time, we talk about this, how it sometimes doesn't make sense, but just some teams match up better against other teams, even though they might. This is one of those, if you look historically, I'll say over the last 3 or 4 years, whatever you want to say, in the Joe Burrow era, Cincinnati does pretty damn well, even when they don't have Joe Burrow. Like last year, like they're always usually very competitive or winning games against Baltimore. With that said, their defense, Cincinnati's defense is so bad. I can't imagine them slowing the Ravens down enough. But if they do, the Ravens defense is bad. So I expect Cincinnati to score some points too. So maybe this is an over. Maybe you look and you say, what is the over and under? 46, 47?
It's 53.
Holy shit, those are college
in
numbers,
the NFL,
man. That's
in the
nuts.
NFL, that's rare.
Yeah, oh my God. Go over 43, over 53. That's a lot.
It was, 38-35 the first time? Is that going to be like that again?
I don't know. But neither team has very good defense, so it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. Would you be surprised if Baltimore scored like 42 points?
It would not.
Not at all.
It would not.
And then you'd only need like 10 from Cincinnati.
And then Cincinnati needs and then they gotta push it.
Because,
of course. It might make sense.
Yeah.
Game ends 10-6. I'm jealous. I'm gonna enjoy the snooze fest.
Oh no!
I wrote this one down because this game intrigues me. I think this is like a weird, like one of those weird tough games for Josh Allen. I don't know why. I have no proof of that. Buffalo at Indianapolis.
I thought about the same thing. If you look this past earlier in the season, I should say, Buffalo did not do great. They started so hot 3-0, and then if I'm remembering correctly, they lost 2 in a row, right? And I think they were both on the road. So I'm kind of with you. Second game for Joe Flacco as a starter, so that's the second week for him to get first team snaps with the receivers and the O-line and all that stuff. Coach gets a better idea of what to do with him. I'll put it to you this way. I think Buffalo should win the game. I think Buffalo's the better team. They obviously have the better quarterback. Wouldn't shock me if this game is close with Indianapolis having the ball at the end with a chance to get the win. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Agreed.
Buffalo's just funky. That defense, especially we just saw it this week against Miami, was not fantastic.
No, it was not.
So, can they generate a pass rush? Because if they can't, if Joe Flacco gets to stand back there and just chuck it, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He's still got a top 5 arm. He's not a top 5 quarterback. But his arm is still insane, dude. Like he has a
pretty long ball.
Oh my God, he's got a fucking cannon. So that's will be interesting to me. If Buffalo's playing funky defense, I wouldn't be surprised if Indianapolis has a chance at the end.
Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. Short week for the Chiefs, but they stayed home. They don't got to go anywhere. They got tested Monday night. Tough game. Mahomes maybe ankle's a little barky. Whatever. I think he's faking it. Listen, you can't. If you're the Broncos, you can't get smoked 2 weeks in a row now on the road. You got to. You got to hang in there. And division games are usually like that. I think Andy Reid, Sean Payton's a great, fun matchup. They beat him last year.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'd feel a little better about this game if last week's Denver game was at home instead of on the road. So like back-to-back travel weeks. I know it's not all the way east, but it's to Kansas City. It's not like just traveling. It's traveling to Kansas City. So tough spot. I'll be rooting for Denver, but hope springs eternal. Who knows?
The 49ers at the Buccaneers.
Very interesting game. Again, it depends on how Tampa came out of this game against Kansas City. You never like losing. But does Tampa, like you're on the flight home. I'm trying to picture how this goes. Like you're disappointed you lost. Baker Mayfield's face when they lose the coin toss and all that stuff. But I'm just wondering, like, if you're on the ride home and, like, your teammates next to you, is there a party that's like, man, fucking losing sucks, but, man, we were right in there. We were right in there with those guys. If that's the feeling, Like, it sucks to lose, but man, maybe we're a little better than even we thought we were. We don't need.
But that's how Baker is.
I think Baker has a little of that half glass, half full kind of thing. And this is still not a full power San Francisco team.
Off a bye. Does that scare you a little bit? If you're the Buccaneers?
It would normally. I still don't think Christian McCaffrey's playing. There's obviously no Ayuk. They're still a little banged up.
Samuel's always banged up. Purdy hasn't played great.
He's played good, not great.
Played good.
Good. Yeah, look, here's the reality. This is not the same San Francisco team we saw 90% of the season last year. I still think there's a chance it will be by the end of the season. Look, they're a 500 team. Look at their record. They're basically a 500 team. So
I think this is one of those games where San Fran's a little sleepy. 1 o'clock kick.
Could be.
Off a bye, not having competition last week.
Maybe.
I think Tampa can maybe get him here.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did. It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm not touching the game, but I think
what is San Fran favored by 2.5 or something like that?
Dude, 6.
Yeah, it seems a lot. Yeah. That seems a lot.
Really good one here. A team, one of those, like, I always bring this up to you, one of these helmet games that you don't see much, and especially because it's basically a new helmet. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Washington Redskin Commanders.
Yeah. Fascinating. I actually think this is a huge game. This is the kind of game. This is
that Washington proves us.
Who are we game. But it is for both teams, I think. If you're the Steelers, with Russell Wilson and all this stuff, you get a good defense. But, like, can you go out there and beat what people are looking at as a really good team right now, a successful team, a team that either plays really well or finds ways to win? Can you do that? And if you're Washington, you got to look and you say, can we go out and beat a high quality football team? I think this is the type of game that is a season defining game, or not a season defining game, but a team defining game for both of these teams. I think the team that comes out of this game with a win, that's a lot of. I think there's a lot of momentum coming out of this for either one of them.
The Commanders went out and got a trade. Marcus Lattimore from the Saints, shutdown corner.
It's a nice one.
Great. I think that's a really good move.
And it's nice, too, because, like, you can get him in there right away and not worry. I mean, there's scheme. I'm not trying to say this, but you can say, hey, man, we're just going to put you one-on-one, lock them up. Yeah, we'll take care of the rest.
Go cover George Pickens or go cover Lamb or go cover whatever. Yeah,
that's
whatever
a big deal. Yeah. And what else that is that tells you that they're looking at their team and saying, we're way ahead of schedule. Let's make a run here, I feel like they're already doing what Houston started doing in the offseason, which is we got a good team. Let's make a run at this fucking thing. You know what I mean? So I like the move. I like the move a lot.
Last one for me, brother.
By the way, Mike Williams, the Steelers in this game, particularly, Steelers picked up Mike Williams from the Jets. Mike Williams caught a couple balls over the last couple weeks. I was surprised he was even playing for the Jets. So. And what do the Steelers always do well? I don't know what it is, but there's something about being in that uniform. Wide receivers do very, very well, so I expect him to have 2 touchdowns in this game because he didn't do shit with the Jets. So there's something. Not that I'm a Jets fan. I'm not a Jets fan. I could care less about the Jets. But I'm just saying I'm sure Mike Williams will do well this week. He's a real pro.
Sunday Night Football. Lions, your new team.
Yes, I love the Lions. So good.
Lions at the previously stated Houston Texans.
This is a tough game for Detroit, by the way. Back-to-back road games. You had your divisional monster match last week at Green Bay. Like, let down road. This is the prototypical, like, lay an egg game. Like, we're doing fine. We can take a game off, and if we win, we win. If we lose, no big deal.
The Lions don't play that way.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. This game scares me.
Oh,
no, it just scares me.
Do I smell a pick? Do I smell a pick?
No, I don't think so. No. No, I can't pick against my team. I love my team. I'm a lifelong Lions fan, pal. Come on.
You are ridiculous. I think Stroud, for more importantly, needs to have a good game here. I think for confident level, I don't know if Nico's playing or not. I think he's either this week or next week.
I'm not sure, but I think you're right. And this might be the game to do it with the Detroit's pass rush, men's at best. This might be a good week for him to get healthy at home.
Yeah.
And it'd be a real feel-good story for Houston because I don't care if Detroit takes the day off. You're beating the team that's playing better than anybody else in the league right now. So it'd be a huge win for Houston.
Yeah, too, and like to your point with the Lions, if they do maybe not mail it in, but if they don't play their best, it's an AFC game. They still
in first place.
They already beat the Packers and the Vikings, so they got one up on them in the division. So, you have anything else?
I do not.
Hot seat game. This is clear as day for anyone that cares. From Germany, 9:30 a.m. The Giants and the Panthers. The NFL should be fucking fined or something for just putting this game on national airwaves.
Germany should just say no.
Who thought this game was going to be good? Who thought this game was going to be good in June or whatever fucking schedule came out in May? This is... Listen, I'll probably be up. I'll probably be watching it.
I'm definitely going to be watching it. Who am I bullshit? What the fuck else are you doing at 9:30 on Sunday morning?
No, right. I'm not playing golf. That's the only thing I would be doing. Giants got to smoke this team, right? They got to get back on it. Like,
do they have to? If they were at home, I'd say sure. I think they play good enough defense to probably win this game. The best thing for Daniel Jones is that they're not playing at MetLife.
Hey, they scored a touchdown last week, though.
Yeah,
that's nice. Do you think Canales is one and done here? Or they're going to give him some time?
I would normally say no. I don't trust David Tepper, the owner.
Right.
He's very impulsive. I don't know that this was the right hire in the first place.
Yeah, you can make that argument for sure.
There's been times this year where I feel like we've seen some decent things from Carolina, like some improvement. Last week, I thought Bryce Young had some moments, had some times, had some nice little runs. I think he's getting into a little bit of fuck this attitude and like letting it rip a little more maybe. So I don't know, but I don't trust the owner, so I wouldn't put it past them at all to do it.
Other side, Giants. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. Do they want to go 4 coaches in 8 years or whatever the number was? It's a really weird high number. Do they want to do this again? Do they trust Dable, or is Dable a product of how bad Jones is?
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
If you were just to do some analysis and say some critique, what would be your critique of Brian Dable?
Personally, I like him.
But I'm saying like critique, you need to do this, you need to do that, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that.
Yeah, there's not much there. I agree. I know where you're going with it.
I'm looking at him like, most people agree he's a good coach. I think most football people would say if he got fired, he'd be hired very, very quickly as a head coach again. Definitely as a coordinator, but probably as a head coach again, depending on how many openings there were. Like, I look at it and I say, if you're, who's probably going to fire their coach? Well, we know the Jets already did, but
Saints did.
If you were the Saints,
How about Jacksonville?
Okay, Jacksonville, perfect, because you got the quarterback maybe in place. You think you still everybody. I would think most people still think you got the quarterback in place. You have a chance to get Brian Daboll or Bill Belichick. Who do you want?
Well, that's a good one. I would take Daboll.
I was going to say, do you want the guy who's going to be 75 years old real soon? Or do you want the young, fiery, talented, offensive coach? I think Daboll... I think most people look at Daboll as a good coach. So if they let him go, I think he'd be picked up in a minute. I don't think any of this is on him. I just don't. They're just barren of talent.
I think Jones is that bad.
Yeah. I agree.
And you know what's funny? And positive on Daboll is... you got your number 1 star receiver. They've turned a 5th-round pick out of Purdue into a really good running back. Offensive line is a little better. Defense is always pretty good.
Decent. There's still questions on offense, but the questions are not scheme. The questions are talent.
Yeah, agreed.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a mistake to fire him. But
they already got the vote of confidence, which I don't know if that's ever good or bad.
It's usually the kiss of death.
Yeah.
So,
all right, bud. College football last week. My Michigan Wolverines hung around a little bit. We said it was going to be a tough one. You did. You had that cover, kind of had it, and then the last minute to Oregon punch it in for the fucking scumbag. I didn't have it. I don't bet on fucking Michigan if I can help it.
Smart.
Offense showed signs of life. Defense let them down.
Yeah.
This is just a weird year. I give you credit. You called this coming. I think it's kind of like a Dable situation. I don't know how much pressure I give on Moore here. I could maybe get on him for his hires, his coaching hires. I don't think that's great. And they're not going to get a quarterback in the portal, like just knowing, like you think you could have won in the Big Ten with this room. That's not.
Now the question is, did they not, or did they just not land one?
I also think they got a late start, and I think that's the
well, that's part of it too. That's fair.
Yeah.
But then see the question. All right, it doesn't matter if it's fair. Okay, so let me just start there. It doesn't matter if it's fair. But he's going to be compared to Jim Harbaugh. Period. End of story. He's going to be compared to Jim Harbaugh. And then, like, when you say something like they didn't go get anybody in the portal at quarterback, what's the first question? What's the first thing on any Michigan football fan who's not analytical like we are?
Yeah,
they're going to say, Harbaugh would have got somebody. It's totally not fair. Or maybe it is. I don't know. But
you know,
that's the way it's going to go.
And right down on the fence, I'll sit on the fence here. It is and it isn't, because everyone forgets Jim started slow here.
Well,
year two was great. Year 2 was great. They had Ohio State on the road on the ropes, whatever. Then the next 2 or 3 years was like, oh man, is he not the right guy? They're getting smoked. Against Ohio
I remember.
State.
He had to take a pay cut.
State, pay cut.
Yeah.
COVID. So, but they're not going to give Sharon that much.
Nobody's thinking that right now, though, because you just won a national championship.
Correct. Yeah.
So
but the champagne's still cold.
It's not fair. The rule is you don't want to be the guy who follows the guy, and he's the guy following the guy, and it's tough. Especially if everybody was coming back this year, it'd be different. Then you could be
their offense.
You could be fair, but it's a disaster. Yeah.
Their tight end's a stud. But other than that, it's kind of
who's getting them the ball. That's the problem. It's hard to get them the ball. So it's just not fair. But that's life. Sharon could have said, "No, I don't want the job. I'll wait for something else." He took it. So he knew what he was getting into.
Carolina job or something.
Yeah, I mean, he knew what he was getting into. You think he was sitting there like, this is going to be fucking great. Even if we go 4-7, I'll be fine. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to get fired this year, but I will tell you this. How many wins they have right now?
5.
They have 5. So if they end up like 6-7 or something like that,
I think they're going to be 6-6. I think that's what they're looking at.
Yeah. Trust me when I tell you, he comes into next season, the seat is warm. It's warm.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
Especially now because Michigan's put a lot of coaches around.
Sure.
Like DC Chargers, head coach Seattle, special team coach here, all over the place, right? One of those guys gets fired. Phone calls are being made. If Sharon goes 6-6 again,
your old wasn't the guy who just got fired from Raiders.
McDaniels?
No.
Oh, the OC?
Yeah.
Getsy,
right? Isn't he a Michigan guy?
I don't think so.
Wasn't he with Michigan for a while there?
Not that I know of.
Under Harbaugh?
No.
I thought he was.
He was with the Bears.
I thought he was. I apologize.
Okay.
Move on.
Yeah, I don't want him anyway, even if he was. Get the fuck... Yeah, goodbye. Tough one in Happy Valley for your cover and for the Nittany Lions here. Ohio State 20... Hold on. One thing at a time. Ohio State 20. Penn State 13. James Franklin continues to step all over his fucking tiny cock.
Oh, my goodness.
He just...
That's personal.
They got a pick 6. You're up 10-0. You're running trick plays all season. You're doing this and that all year, and your offense can't generate anything. Anything.
The whole pregame show was about all the funky plays and the strange setups and things. What is he? 3-20 against
17. Yeah, maybe at high. Yeah,
10 against teams or something like that. Look, to be totally honest, the score wasn't even the game wasn't as close as the score was.
No, and it was a boring ass game too.
It was not great. So I don't think either one of these two teams is elite right now. I don't think Ohio State is. I definitely don't think Penn State is. It's a little disappointing. I got to be honest with you. It's a little disappointing. I don't know how you just. I don't know. I didn't see a team. that thought they could win. How about I put it that way?
And I think that's
they get out to the 10-0 lead to your point, but then as soon as it was like what 13-10 or 14-10, I just looked at a team and I'm like, they don't think they can win.
They're cooked. Yeah, they're cooked.
They don't think they can win.
I thought the same thing.
And they just never really made a run, and that's a little disappointing. Is that on the coach? I guess you could say that's on the coach. I also think that's on history. Those guys have been on a team. Many of those guys have been on a team for the last 3 years. Belief is a strong thing, man.
Dude, absolutely. You can't go into a game like that and you just look at their helmets and go, oh, man, we lost 8 in a row. I don't think we could do it again.
I don't think that's how they started. I don't think that's how they started the game. But once they fell behind, I think that was it.
But dude, once you start like that, you should like...
Oh, they should have been rolling.
Rolling.
I don't get it.
That number 44, Tyler Warren, he's like a jack of all trades guy. Though. He did nothing. They didn't get him the ball. Like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, well, you're coming up against good teams. What do we say? Good teams are going to take away what you do well. You got to do something else. They have good receivers. They have
two good running backs.
Yeah, like there's other things, and they just didn't do it. And I was wildly underimpressed.
Very stale, underimpressed.
Yeah,
defense wasn't bad, but Abdul Carter didn't do anything.
Penn State is a good program. They can beat most teams in this country. They're a 1A. They're not a 1. They're not an elite team. They're not one of the best. Or they're not a top 5 program in this country right now. They're just not. There's Ohio State, Michigan last year, but not right now. But like Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia,
Texas.
If you want to throw Clemson in there, I don't think you can anymore.
You could probably throw Miami.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They're winning, but they're winning unimpressively.
Notre Dame?
It's a handful. Yeah, you throw Notre Dame in there, at least as far as like they're there every year and they're beating good teams. Penn State's just not on that level. They're just not.
They're not, yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world because they're still very good and they beat most teams in this country. They just don't beat the elite teams. Ever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where the game is. Doesn't matter what time the game starts. They don't win these against elite teams. They just don't.
Speaking of Miami, going down at the half against Duke at home.
Very strange game.
And then outscore them 36-10 to smoke the Dukies. Miami's going to lose one of these games to like Boston College. Weird.
They're going to lose because they don't play defense. The fact that you're giving up that many points to Duke, who doesn't score on anybody, this is not a good football team. Duke is not a good football team. You give up 30 points to them, and you're down like 25-22, like right before half or some shit. Now, they went the fuck off because they have what I truly believe Cam Ward is the best quarterback in the country. Just as far as productivity, ball.
Right now, is he the number one quarterback off the board?
Probably not. It's still probably Shedeur Sanders. I like Cam Ward more because he's a thicker dude. Like, Shedeur Sanders is rail thin. He gets his ass beat, and that's in college. So what's going to happen in the NFL?
Watching Dylan Gabriel the other day, too, he's fucking good, but he's so small.
He's short, but he's thick, too. Like, he's not a thin guy. He's thick. He's Russell Wilson, but he is little. But goddamn, can he chuck it?
Oh, my God.
He can fucking chuck it, dude. He is accurate. On his deep balls, I mean, he is really good. But he is little. I don't love it. Like, I'm looking at, as a former Jets fan, I almost said something stupid there. As a former Jets fan... do you want to get a guy who's like 5'10", 5'11" as your quarterback? I think Dylan Gabriel can really sling it, man. Like really, and he's smart and he's quick decisions, and you know what that means to me. That's a lot to me. He's little. He's just short. It is what it is, you know. So to me, Cam Ward, although not huge height wise, I think he's my height, 6 foot, 6'1". He's a big dude and he's wildly productive.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I might stump you here. What do you think Dylan Gabriel would do in Brian Daboll's offense?
I think he would do great because if you look back at Daboll's time at Buffalo, he was always trying to get Josh Allen more on schedule. They would always shit their pants when Josh would take off and try to run over linebackers and stuff like that. It's Daboll that straightened him out and got him more on schedule. If they were to bring in a guy whose natural way is to be on schedule, I think it would probably work very well. Again, just in general, he's just a little on the short side for me. But Kyler Murray, these guys have always been short. This is not new to them that they're short. They know how to work with that. And again, I don't look at him as a little guy. And you look at him historically, he's not hurt. He doesn't get hurt. So he could take the bumps. You know what I'm saying? Like where I've seen Shedeur Sanders come out of the game just because he.
How tall is Shedeur? 6'2"?
I think he's a little taller. I see 6'2", 6'3", something like that. I think he probably. I don't want to say he's got a stronger arm. He's more athletic, but see, that's a two-prong problem for me with Sanders. Like he's a little rail thin. I don't trust him personally. And I don't want to have nothing to do with Dion in that situation. I just don't want to deal with that circus. And not the circus on the field, the circus when it comes to like signing contracts, getting contract work done after the first 5 years. I don't trust it, and I don't want to be part of that. So, and you're going to get comments every week in, week out from Dion or someone else in their factory. I don't want to deal with that. That's a different story. I think Shedeur Sanders is a real good quarterback. I like a lot of things I see from him, just purely from a quarterback thing. But with that all said, Cam Ward. You bring up Cam Ward. I would take Cam Ward over all of them. There's so much I like. He wants to throw.
You liked him for years.
I liked him. When I see guys really productive at second-rate schools, that just to me, I remember going back to.
Incarnate Word.
What's his name? Went to Vanderbilt many moons ago.
Jay
Cutler. I remember pointing him out to people like, dude, this guy's making throws. His receivers belong in like, NAIA
chemistry class.
Yeah, and he's throwing touchdown passes and first downs against Tennessee. Like you got to recognize when a guy's doing that, and then he shot up, became a first-round pick. I thought he'd be good in a second. Anyway, when you see talent, guys doing well, successful, and very effective at second-rate schools. It says a lot to me. And then now Cam Ward is such an interesting case because he was doing great at Washington State. Now you put him in Miami, and he's fucking 5 touchdowns every week, man. It's just crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like suddenly you put him around town. So that's what it says a lot to me. That's all.
Along with Penn State, some other ranked teams that went down. A&M looked like shit.
Bad one. That's a bad one,
God.
Man.
Is
that South Carolina? South Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they
on the road. Look, you've mentioned that South Carolina's a tough team. They play well. They've been in some really close games against Alabama and other teams. So, but man.
But their quarterback played great.
That's just a tough one. And you know what it is more than anything? They gave up a lot of points. And we were talking about Texas A&M as one of the best defensive teams in the country.
38 points.
Give up a shitload of points. That's the part. What do I always say? I always say defense travels. Not this week. Not for Texas A&M.
No.
And that's the disappointing thing to me.
Iowa State goes down. That's a team. They always do that shit, too, at home. Clemson, stinker.
Who'd they lose to?
That was Louisville.
Ugh. Give some credit to Louisville, but they were on like a 3-game. Ever since they played Notre Dame, they hadn't been the same team.
Right.
Great win for them. And that was at Clemson, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Not the same team.
Kansas State. I think Kansas State lost to Houston.
Don't be surprised if Dabo Swinney has a year or two left in him. I don't know. He's reminding me of Jay Wright with Villanova, that he's looking at the state of the game right now and he's saying, I don't like this shit. I don't like this. If you're a dictator for 20 years and then suddenly you're thrust into a democracy, it's going to be a tough adjustment.
Yeah.
And that's really what Nick Saban and Jay Wright and maybe Dabo Swinney, because you can clearly, and I could see the same thing with, what's his name in Oklahoma State? Gundy at Oklahoma State. These guys have been doing this job for a long time, a certain way, and unbelievably successfully. And then they're thrown into this thing with NIL and a transfer portal, and they're like, what the fuck am I doing, man? I don't need this shit. And financially, none of them do. Right. Financially, none of them need this shit. So those are two names in college football, Swinney and Gundy. Over the next 2 years, don't be surprised if they're like, I don't know.
I think the guy at Utah, too. Winningham, I think, might
Wouldn't
be there.
Surprise me.
One more pick goes down to SMU on the road. That was a weird number, and SMU's pretty good.
SMU's pretty good. That's what's the really important thing, because Pittsburgh is a pretty good team. They played very well this year, better than I expected. SMU can go, man. They got some horses, no pun intended.
Now
they can score some points. They can score, dude. They can score. By the way, I'm sure this is not going to be in your previews, so I just wanted to. Did you see the friggin' line on a Florida State game? I'm only thinking it's because SMU smashed Florida State.
27 points.
Oh my God! Yes.
At Notre Dame.
At Notre Dame.
I was gonna write that down just for that fact. I'm so glad you brought that up.
It's just great.
That is
Florida
mind-boggling.
State, undefeated last year before their bowl game. 27-point underdogs against Notre Dame.
And I got news for you.
My goodness.
They might not cover it.
I wouldn't bet it.
No.
Come on, they don't play defense. They don't play defense. Bad.
There's no rumors of him getting fired yet.
I have heard nothing. And on Bleacher
Crickets.
Report, I follow Florida State. On the Score app, I follow Florida State. On Yahoo Sports, I follow Florida State. Nothing. We didn't even think he'd make it back from what game was fucking game they play? This was going back. I said if they lost to Memphis, that's what it was, because he used to coach in Memphis. If you lose at home to the team he used to coach, which is basically a glorified high school team, no offense to Memphis, you're gone. Yeah, you're gone. And they didn't do it. So, and it's only gotten worse since then.
Sure
What
has.
a bad situation, man. You know what's crazy about this too? Just take the Florida State part out of it. When he got there, things were pretty rough. And he caught a lot of shit. Guys left the team. They didn't like the direction he was moving in. And it was
had a rough first year.
It wasn't easy, but slowly but surely built a team that went undefeated last year. And now you got to start from fucking scratch? Oh,
Again.
Golly. God.
And how many guys are going to lose to the portal too? And then who's going to want to go there coming in? It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Week 11 is upon us. November football, dude. This is incredible.
Too fast.
I know. Number 3, Georgia. At number 16, Ole Miss.
Game of the week.
Maybe not. We'll get into that in a minute. But
No, I think so.
Carson Beck has not played great.
He's been on and off, and it's been like within a game. It hasn't. There's never been. I shouldn't say never. There's been games where he's been very bad and very good in the same game. That's inconsistency. That's not good for a guy who many people thought could have been the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When we brought up the quarterback, we didn't even bring him up.
Nope. Because he's been just too inconsistent. Think of some of the games. 3 points in the first half against Clemson, like 38 points in the second half against Clemson. No points in the first.
Kentucky, 4 field goals, right? They beat Kentucky.
Yeah, no points in the first. Yeah, 13 points against Kentucky. No points in the first half against Alabama, and then you fucking explode in the second half.
Crazy.
It's just too inconsistent, and
this Florida game this past week was bad early and good late.
Yeah. By the way, did you see that? You texted me that they're giving
Napier
an extra year. Like,
that's nuts.
What?
That's nuts, dude.
Oh my God. What in the world is
that
happening?
has Josh McDaniels with the Raiders written all over it, by the way.
You know what it makes me wonder? It makes me wonder they already have some coaches that they're still paying off their contracts that they just don't want to have to pay like
Charlie
another
Strong,
one. Oh my God.
Who's the other guy? The guy from Urban's guy. Dan Mullen.
Yeah. They're probably still paying both of those guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeez, you don't want to pay a third one. Let's wait another year. It's just crazy. The fans will still come.
Number 23 Clemson at Virginia Tech. This is
interesting game. Now it wasn't an interesting game. Yeah,
coming off a loss. This is not where you want to go to fucking play football here.
Virginia Tech's playing a little better. They've had a couple decent wins in the last couple weeks. They beat Georgia Tech pretty handily. Like
tough place to play.
Tough place to play. That place will be rocking. Metallica will be playing, and like you said, coming off a loss, that's got to be a hit to their confidence. Clemson needs to get off to a fast start, because if this thing is tight at halftime, doubt starts creeping into your head, man. And the other side of it is Virginia Tech starts to believe. So you don't want that. Clemson needs to really get off to a fast start here, get some points on the board. You'd like to see that, if you're a Clemson fan, you'd like to see them somewhere between 13 and 17 points by the half. Anything less than that, and Virginia Tech feels very good. Very good.
Agreed. Number 20, Colorado at Texas Tech.
Yeah, I give Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes all the credit in the world. They are significantly better this year than they were last year. I'm going to give someone credit that probably not too many people are going to give some credit to. I'm going to give Warren Sapp some credit here. He's one of their assistant coaches, works with those defensive line players. This was one of the shittiest defenses in the country last year. They're not great this year, but if you look, defensive line play has clearly improved. They're a lot better against. They're still, again, better is not good, but they're better against the run than they were last year. They're getting a better pass rush. They're a football team, so they're going to go to a bowl game this year. This is a better football team, but this is a good game because Texas Tech from This is Texas Tech from week to week has shown the ability to beat decent teams. So who'd they just beat?
Iowa State.
That was the Iowa State game. I thought so. Yeah, I didn't want to say it before I knew it though. And that kid, remember, I think I told you his name was Morton. He puts up some monster fucking numbers a lot of these games.
And he was hurt, and he played hurt last week and played great. And we'll see.
Is this game at Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a good test. Look, Colorado had a really impressive win against Central Florida. Was it? It was Central Florida, right? Number 1 rushing team in the country. So that was a really good win. If they could do that again here, again, I'm not trying to say Texas Tech is great, but this is a tough spot to go on the road. Texas Tech, a team that can score. If they can get a win here, then you got to feel really good. You got to feel really good.
I wrote this one down because I think it's always an interesting game. Number 9 BYU, undefeated BYU, at Utah. Utah always has good teams, well coached.
No quarterback right now.
4-4 right now, no quarterback. Can they upset BYU?
Can they upset BYU? Of course, because this is like a rivalry game.
Sure.
And anything can. Where's the game?
Utah.
Yeah, I mean, at home, rivalry game. Nothing would make you happier than to ruin it.
Up.
Yeah, nothing would make you happier than to ruin it. Plus, Utah's very physical.
A lot of Mormons.
Well, same with BYU. So,
yeah, so I mean, the whole thing. This is the whole game.
Mormon Palooza. So,
a lot of wide.
Could they? Yeah, I mean, but BYU has played really good football this year, man. Like really good football this year. Mm-hmm. So it'd be a tough spot. But can they? If there's a upset on the schedule, I would say this is definitely a good spot to keep an eye on because it's a rivalry and they're at home. What's the spread? Do you have a spread there?
I could tell you.
Yeah,
give me 1 second.
Yeah, again, this has been a bit of a disappointing season for Utah.
If you had a guess.
Games at Utah, BYU. I don't know. BYU favored by like 5.5. That'd be my guess.
3. 10-15 kickoff. You might need a nap, buddy, to watch that game.
What are you trying to say? Yeah, that could be interesting. Although I think you'll have a good idea by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. If
Utah's in the game.
Last one for me. This is my game of the week. Number 11, Alabama, at number 15, LSU.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I'm just not there with LSU.
I know.
And I say that only because against better teams, they haven't been awesome. But then again, Alabama
has been shaky themselves.
Has been very shaky the last few weeks. This game is at Alabama or at LSU?
LSU.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes it fun. That's such a cool place, man. That's such a cool place. I just don't think they play good enough defense. LSU, I don't think they play good enough defense. And I think they probably end up losing this game. But I could be wrong about that one. I don't say that with a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
it's a very weird team. The kid Nussmeier for LSU is pretty productive. Throws a really nice ball. Another one, he plays. You talk about difference between him and like Jaden Daniels. Like he plays within the system, stays in the pocket, delivers the ball. But he's clearly smart, very accurate, tough as nails too. He'll stay in there, take the hit, and deliver the ball. So, You didn't bring up Ole Miss and Georgia.
I did. We talked about the first game. You said game of the week. That's why I said.
Oh, I didn't really get into anything with Ole Miss.
Are you drinking?
I didn't. No, actually, I'm not this week. I didn't say anything, but we talked about Georgia, but I didn't say anything at Ole Miss. I just want to say, like, Lane Kiffin kind of has a little bit of the James Franklin thing going on. These games have not gone his way very often, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, you name it. They're at home. This would be a time to like show, are you on the level? You know, it's the same story with Penn State and James Franklin. It's the same exact thing. Are you on that level? If you look at the talent on that team, you would say, yeah, they are, or at least close. But are you? You gotta win these games. You gotta sometimes win these games.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can I have some music, please?
I would love to. My apologies for... I didn't realize that...
No worries. No worries.
It's coming on soon. Go ahead.
I'm going to start with Georgia and Ole Miss.
So am I, actually.
I agree 100% with what you said, that Lane shits his pants in these games. He's not great at home. He's like he puts too much pressure on him. His quarterbacks never really play great in these games. And Georgia, from how mediocre they've been in some games, they really come to play in these type of games.
For sure.
Especially all week that they're backs getting talked about, the guys getting arrested getting talked about, there's no weapons on the outside getting talked about. This is a game that Kirby Smart loves, and I think Georgia wins, and I think they win fairly easy. And they're only giving 2.5 points. I love it. Georgia, minus 2.5 at Ole Miss.
All right, sucker bet of the week. Sucker bet of the week. I'm taking Ole Miss. I'm taking a 2.5 points. I'm thinking sooner or later. I think Lane Kiffin is a better coach than James Franklin. So I actually look at him and I'm saying he's got to be able to pull out one of these games. And if there's a year to do it, this is it. Georgia's a very good football team, but this is not the best. If you're looking over the last 3 or 4 years, this is not the best Georgia team of the last 3 or 4 years. It's probably I'll call it the worst, even though they're still a good team. They're still a very good team. So I think there's some excitement. Ole Miss got the offense going again last week. I think they put 50-something points on the board again. Sucker bet, and I am a sucker for Lane Kiffin. Give me Ole Miss plus 2.5. I think they win the game outright. In fact, if I were to bet this game, I wouldn't even take the points. I would just take the money line. It's not worth it. I'd rather take the extra money.
We haven't gone head-to-head in a long time.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to Happy Valley.
Oh, my God, so am I. Oh, my God. I swear to God.
This is a James Franklin game. Not playing Michigan, not playing Ohio State, not playing someone else. The little old Washington's coming in. Wide out game at night. Penn State they scored 38. They give up 13. Everyone's back in their good graces. And the bullshit continues with James Franklin. He can't win the big game, but he pounds everybody else.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's only 13.5. 2 touchdowns. I think they win this game by like 25.
It's only 13.5 because they don't win games big. If you look at this whole season, they don't win games big. But I'm with you. I think they do this time. I think there's got to be some that's not who we are thinking, even though that's who they are. You lose to good teams. But Washington has lost to Rutgers. Washington lost to USC. Washington lost to somebody else not great. This is not
Indiana.
Indiana. They got smashed by Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana's a good football team, folks. They're favored by 2 touchdowns against Michigan. Are you fucking kidding me?
Dude, it's ridiculous.
I wanted a takedown, but 14? Holy shit! I can't do it. I just can't do it.
They're gonna cover.
Where's that game?
Indiana.
Holy fuck nuts, man! That's just crazy. Anyway, give me Penn State minus 13.5 over Washington. Big comeback.
Oh,
hey, what do we like to say? We say this all the time. Like good teams coming off prime time bad loss, and I don't care. Any time on Saturday is a prime time game, especially at noon. It's kind of like it was the only good game on TV at that time. They usually come back and play well the next week, so I'm expecting the best effort out of Penn State.
By the way, last week we were both 2-2. We both lost our college and we both won our NFL, which is bizarre. So
crazy because the NFL is so unpredictable.
I am going to Jerry's World. Philadelphia Eagles laying 7 points on the road.
It's a lot.
Dallas is
bad.
What? Dallas is what at home? 1-3, 0-3, something really bad.
I don't know that they won at home.
They might not have, right? Let me see.
I don't think they did.
They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to
the Saints.
The Saints? Oh, my God.
I don't think... If they did, it's 1.
Hold on.
They might have 1 win at home.
Saints, Ravens, 0-3.
Jesus H. Christ.
With that said...
Oof. You love Cooper Rush.
They bring Troy Aikman back. Staubach's going to do something. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Eagles are playing really well. I think there's some calmness now. I think this is like a late cover. I don't think it's a blowout. I think it's kind of like a weird game. Philly lets them hang in because Sirianni lets everybody hang in.
I know.
I think this is probably like a 27-17, 23-13 type of game. Philly covers late. Give me Philly minus 7.
I could see Philly scoring a lot more than that. The Cowboys defense is bad.
Are they playing? Are these guys coming back, or now they're going to mail it too? Now that the season.
What does it
Michael
matter?
Parsons
They stunk in the
playing.
first few weeks with those guys there. Their defense was
fair.
awful then.
Alrighty.
Pats have a little something going. I think they feel really.
Who'd you say?
The Pats. Patriots?
You betting the Patriots? Who the fuck they playing? The Bears?
The Patriots have a little something going here. I think they really like what they've seen out of Drake May. He had a little kind of like a very short Hail Mary play for a touchdown. It was fascinating. It's stuff like that team, the rest of the team, his teammates look and say, this guy's got a little juice, man. This guy's got a little something. But I have to believe that the Bears at home against a sub-500 team are going to show out this week. New England doesn't necessarily get a good pass rush, so Caleb Williams might get a little extra time. Maybe they could run the ball. The New England plays pretty decent defense. I think the Bears win this game. I think Caleb Williams plays a little better. Give me the Bears -6.5 over the improved Patriots.
Oh, you're taking the Bears?
I'm taking the Bears.
Okay. I don't like that either. I don't like that game at all. If they lose that game, do they fire Eberflus now, right? Probably
Well,
not.
so I think he's very much on a hot seat right now. So I think sometimes when guys get on a hot seat, they tell their coordinators, let it rip, because we got to go. We got to go. And they got to go.
Yeah.
So I think
they do.
I think they do a let it rip thing this week, and this is a good team to do it against because I don't think Drake May on the road is going to put up big numbers.
Yeah, and I think Bears defense will buckle
It's
down.
still
on them, too.
good defense. Yeah, it's still good defense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you know what? That does make sense. I love the Bears. Going to the District of Columbia.
Oh, me too. This is ridiculous, dude. 3 out of 4 games we're betting the same game.
This is really bizarre. This has never happened. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a small road dog. I love Jane Daniels. You love Jane Daniels.
Love Jane
His
Daniels.
parents love him. Everybody loves him.
I hope his parents love him.
Malik Neighbors loves him. He's talking to him the whole game last week on a sideline.
Why wouldn't
bizarre
you?
That was. I think Jaden Daniels has not seen a defense like he's going to see on Sunday afternoon.
It's probably fair.
Pittsburgh coming off a bye. Russell with another week playing with his guys. Mike Williams in the building. 2 touchdowns predicted by Peter Calisano.
Only because he's an ex-Jet. Not that I like
I
the
think
Jets.
this is a really, really, really good game. I think this is you, like you said before, that you're going to tell who's who here, and I think you can both get good results out of both. Honestly, if it's a really tough, good game.
For sure.
But Pittsburgh getting points, I can't pass that up, man. Give me the Steelers plus 2.5 at Washington.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one, my man. Only because I think at some point Jaden Daniels has to take an L, and I think that this defense is that good. TJ Watt, to me, is probably the defensive player of the year. He gets after it as much as anybody else in the league, more than anybody else in the league. Russell Wilson's playing good, better than most people thought. I do think you're going to see a pretty goddamn physical game. This might be the most physical game of the weekend because you got Dan Quinn and Mike Tomlin, like 2 defensive guys, physical football. And I also think you might see a little more conservative play from the Commanders, like not trying to put Jaden Daniels in too much danger, bad ribs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm taking the Steelers also plus a 2.5. So my 2 NFL games are the Bears -6.5 over the Pats and the Steelers plus 2.5 over the Commanders. And in college, I have Ole Miss pulling off the small upset at home, getting 2.5 against Georgia, and Penn State going at home, favored by 13.5 to clobber the Washington Huskies.
I'm with Peter on Penn State. I have Georgia opposite of him in that game, -2.5 at Ole Miss. The Eagles -7 at the Cowboys, and the Steelers, along with Peter again, plus 2.5 at the Commanders.
Yeah, it's weird because that's the type of game you should probably stay away from. But I just think rookie quarterback, new coach, new coordinator, like the whole new. I just think at some point they got to take an L, and this is probably the spot that they do it. That's all.
Yeah, I think I agree totally.
Let's do some trivia.
Right. Trivia time, Peter. Who is the all-time leader in passing touchdowns at Florida? Tim Tebow, Danny Werfel, Steve Spurrier, Rex Grossman.
man. Fuck you with Rex Grossman. I actually think it could be him. Although Spurrier had him also. Give me Danny Werfel.
Bingo! Right away, didn't overthink it. Got it. 114 career touchdowns for Danny Werfel.
Back-to-back national championship games. Won one, lost one.
Yep. Florida State. And then who's the other one?
Nebraska. Got annihilated.
Mangano 0 for 1 and turn your comments off.
Oh, shit. Oh, I don't have them on. Okay.
All right. Peter, who's he?
0 for 1.
Peter, he might be 0 for his last 12. I don't know.
Mike makes
Peter,
me feel good.
Who's the all-time leader in receiving touchdowns at the U?
Ooh.
Michael Irvin, Reggie Wayne, Andre Johnson, Santana Moss.
That Santana Moss one scares me. They didn't throw the ball that much back in the day with Michael Irvin, so I have to take him off the list. Who are the other ones?
Reggie Wayne, Andre Johnson, Santana Moss.
Andre Johnson.
It is Michael Irvin.
No way.
Yep.
No shit. All right, damn. That sucked.
Last one, dude. Who is the all-time leader in receiving touchdowns with the Miami Dolphins? Mark Duper, O.J. McDuffie, Mark Clayton, Paul Warfield.
Why is O.J. McDuffie in there? I don't like you. What do you just come up with O.J. McDuffie? You're not just pulling that up.
O.J. McDuffie from?
Penn State?
Yeah, boy.
I don't think it's him, but man, where do you fucking pull that out of? Mark, and who was the other one?
Paul Warfield.
Why'd you say O.J. McDuffie? That's really freaking...
Mangano over 2.
Oh, because Clayton and Duper, they like split. It's a season or career?
Career.
Shit. See, I look at Paul Warfield and I say they didn't throw the ball a lot back then, man. But you had Greasy as a quarterback.
Or Amaro.
I just think like the Clayton, Duper and Clayton, they like divided. Although Marino, they threw the ball 50 times every fucking game. I feel like it. God, I don't want to say the answer here.
I love Chevy. You were like, this is what I love. You're playing racquetball with yourself.
To be honest with you, I don't even know between the two of them who had more. I think it was Mark Clayton was the bigger target. Like had more receptions. Oh, shit. Dude, if it's O.J. McDuffie, I'm canceling this podcast. We're never doing it again. I'm going to go with Mark Clayton.
You, my friend, are correct.
Yes! Yes!
81, and it was a big margin between him and Mark Duper.
It was, right? I knew one of them was better. I just couldn't.
McDuffie was like 3rd or 4th, though.
That is crazy. When? When was he there?
Or mid-90s, early to mid-90s. Chris Chambers, remember, from Wisconsin? He was on the list like
Who was the quarterback?
Was it Jay Fiedler?
Oh, come on. And he's up there like that with... Who
was the guy who was after Marino? When Marino played the, 99? McDuffie? He played with McDuffie for a little bit.
I can't believe O.J. McDuffie is up there anywhere near the top of that list. That's crazy. Holy shit. That really
Good job,
is
bro.
like...
2 out of 3.
I'll
Good
take
job.
2 out of 3 every week. You kidding me? Shit. Very nice. What are we watching this week, my man?
I think there's some hockey and NBA getting going now a little bit. I'm getting a little bit into that now. The baseball's
really?
The Knicks, but they stink.
You gotta love
watching Warriors Celtics.
Joel Embiid basically telling the Philly fans to fuck off.
Dude, he's something else.
He's something else. All these NBA guys are ultimate prima donnas.
Saturday, Georgia game at noon, I think, or 3:30, and then of course the Bama game at night, and then Sunday, Red Zone it up.
Oh, I love Red Zone. I will be watching an Ole Miss Georgia game faux show. I like the game itself. I'm rooting for Ole Miss. I bet that game with my heart, folks. So don't go with me on that one. I bet it because I want it, not because I feel that confident about it. I just want Ole Miss to win, and then I want to say I picked them. And then I'm very interested in that Steelers-Commanders game. Like, if there was one game I wanted to lock in on, it's that Steelers-Commanders game.
Agreed.
I really feel like, I don't know that either one of those two teams are true threats in the playoffs. But if they win whoever wins this game, boy, they probably think they are.
You're going to need good football after watching Giants-Panthers at 9:30.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're probably just better off making French toast and
going by take a nap.
Yeah, take a nap. Get ready for the rest of the day. Very good, my man. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. Catch you guys next week.
Later.